came in on the Navarino boat. And they were talking about some of the villages. It's like, well, this one was wiped out in 1960. This one was wiped out in 60 by the tsunami after the earthquake. It's like, oh my God.
On Easter Day, the walking begins from the village of Puerto Williams. It is an outpost for the Chilean Navy in the country's Antarctic territory. Population 2,200. Snow has delayed our departure on this 5-day backpacking circuit in one of the most remote regions of the country. In recent days, weather has alternated between sun and rain squalls. We enter this rugged circuit by the valley of the Rio Robalo, avoiding the normal trail on Cerro Bandera above, where dangerous snow still clings. At Lago Robalo, the lakeshore opens and the snow becomes deeper. At this point, the two feral dogs turn back after they had been leading us through miles of swamp and windfall. Isolation is palpable. Our stops are frequent to consult the map to find the next marker. This routine would repeat many times over coming days. Also, markers are numbered and correspond to a companion guidebook with distance, elevation, and descriptions. It would be a Bible for these 5 days of trackless, treeless travel with many cols to cross and countless alpine lakes to pass around. On this first night, we dig out flat zones for 2 tents in the snow on the shore of Laguna del Salto, Waterfall Lake. It's important to seek protection from the violent wind that can abruptly rise night or day. We anchor tent stays with heavy rocks we've uncovered. In waning light, we sponge off by the lake, then boil lake water for dinner and refill bottles. Cold drives us into sleeping bags by 7. Day 2 is long, climbing steeply at first to eventually pierce the jagged spine that is the mountain chain of Los Dientes, the fangs of Navarino Island. From there, to gain its backside. This region is a treasure of craggy terrain, where valley bottoms are like mountain tops. Certain plant life is unique and adapted to the extremely harsh conditions. Fortunately, we see none of that weather, though cold descends like weight once shadows lengthen and night falls. Camping this second night is with expansive views south to Wollaston Island and Cape Horn. Day 3 is the climb to Paso Ventaron, Pass of Winds, at 2,250 feet. From there, we overlook a jigsaw puzzle of lakes, surrounded by chunky undulations of striated mountains. The descent is followed by a long traverse through impenetrable walls of the indigenous evergreen beach to reach Paso Garrico and then Laguna Hermosa, lovely lake, reflecting the sun blindingly. We camp on Hammer Lake, Laguna Martillo, searching for an hour for protected and flat sites. We opted last for flat with the risk of exposure to wind as times stay calm. The atmosphere of this venerable place at every step is enhanced by the challenge of route finding in snow. It binds the team with regular alternation of the exhausting task of trail breaking. In this terrain of snow-covered boulders, we call it ankle roulette. We see the first of other backpackers, a group of young, strong Czechs. They pass and ask, "How many days?" They comment on the good track they had followed. We think about that. Paso, Virginia, the last high country of the circuit, is raked by clouds. We start across the 1.5-mile plateau of this broad shoulder, seeing occasional tracks from the Czechs. The blessing comes full circle. The descent route comes to view partway down. We see we are saved from the real hazard of this gulf of slides by how the wind has swept away most of the snow. On lower ground, we encounter the scariest moment in a zone of snow slippage and mudslides. The grass makes it difficult to kick in. In the safety of forest again, trail spurs appear and disappear. The ground is soggy, like a steep bog. We reach camp, our last, and the air feels warmer. The ground is snow-free, and tall beech provides shelter. The final day is a series of flooded zones, lakes and streams altered by the unnaturally destructive effects of beaver dams. This vermin is a non-native of Tierra del Fuego, imported in the 1800s for fur trapping. The results? Even a couple of miles of travel takes more than an hour. Lower down, we reach horse pasture and views of Beagle Sound. And for the final few miles, the road, where the only vehicle we see, it turns out, was sent by the hostel where we stay the night. In the Ancash region of Peru, outside of Huaraz, its capital, we drive towards Conochoco with truck traffic from copper mines and haciendas. At 3 hours, halfway, we stop for lunch in Chiquian, doorway to Huayhuash Range. All along we admire the shimmering glaciated summits of the Cordillera Blanca. Their highest point, Huascaran, is over 22,000 feet. After 3 days of preparatory day hiking above 12,000 feet, we are taken comfortably by private hire van to the traditional village of Pocopá. Tents go up in an elementary school soccer field. This facility is thanks to government programs to improve the region's education. It was a haunt of the Marxist terrorists' Shining Path, now essentially defunct. Day 2. Before the mule team and cook have finished packing and loading the 8 burros, we depart camp with David, our guide. The landscape is treeless to a large extent, place is an expansive alpine pastureland where graze horses, sheep, cows, and llama. Our 10-day loop remains entirely above 12,500 feet for all camps. In addition, we cross 6 passes over 15,000. As for each day, our team cook, who is a stocky woman and a natural entertainer, whips up storms of fresh eggs, hearty cereals, salads, quinoa delights, and the best fresh-caught brown trout. By day 3, we notice the thinner air. It leads to a high-altitude joke by the cook. With ethyl alcohol, she lit her hand on fire in the cook tent. Unscathed, her laughter roared. "Thin gases burn cold," she said. Communities levy passage fees. It offsets the impact that tourism has on their pasture land. It also buys safety for rescues. A woman in a group of young foreigners takes ill at the Ciula Punta Pass. We think she bonked. Nothing to do with elevation, but caution was not exercised by their guide. The mule drivers are humble. Avoid eye contact at first. They are brothers, both sons of a mule driver family. Their animals appear well cared for, almost cute. It's 5-star accommodations in Vikonga camp, with general store and hot springs. David, our guide, stays up drinking and storytelling all night. His unsteady pace betrays the indulgence as we cross Kayuk Pass, the highest at 16,000. Weird mushroom and columnar igneous rocks are phenomenal sights. Day 8. The trend is down at first, to the valley of Rio Calinca, whose headwaters issue from Ciula Grande, its enormous west face, home of Joe Simpson epic, Touching the Void. Flowers abound. Walrus rock in frosty shadows as we leave Huatiac camp, admiring the nearby lesser greats such as Anconcancha, Raju Kolota, and Rasak. This second to last day we cross two passes, Tapush and Lauca, both above 15,000 feet. From this last camp at Lake Jahuacocha, we leave these mountains. Other delights follow in cities and towns of Cusco, Ollantaytambo, Sacred Valley of the Incas, and a unique visit to a sister site of Machu Picchu, an Inca jewel in the rough called Choquequirao. Say it slowly. Choque is precious metal like Inca gold, and Quirao means cradle, such as golden cradle. 5 days walk, 2 days crossing from one side, 2 days coming back over the valley Rio Apurimac, the river that speaks like God. Our visit to this mountain Shangri-La was organized with local guide and homestay, mother, brothers, and all. The walls of Lama make manifest the crucial importance of this camelid to Inca life, commerce, and divinity. Recently, an ambitious government boondoggle was successfully resisted by local factions, leaving it safe from greater commercialization. Close our adventure, Peru, to your hidden corners where so much of nature's vitality still lives. Shine on, you crazy diamond.